Keep in the DCC, please.
Yeah. Because then in DCC, everyone gets their own desk too. And
You have to hold it up, right?
No, I don't.
There's no footrest chairs here.
Are we like
That'd be really
writing on the paper or
convenient if I
like
could
holding
set
it?
my
Or write on it, I guess. Honestly, it's just you probably don't even need to write. It's really just like it'll help kind of, I guess.
You're one short this direction.
I refuse to believe that's true.
You know, this is gonna cut off half the presentation.
No, either way, it'll be
Yeah.
up angled because I can't angle it.
So just kind of a quick preface. I know some of you know this, a lot of you don't, but I am a huge theme park aficionado. In that, if I were to describe everyone as having their own passion field, which is a field of study that really speaks to them and they would willingly devote their life to, for me, that would be the study of theme parks. And just my goal of this presentation is to just kind of teach you a little bit about theme parks and what they do to create immersion or engineer the inclusion, if you will. And hopefully by the end of it, have you guys just understand why I'm so obsessed with them. And hopefully not ruin any of the magician's tricks along the way. So, welcome to Engineering and Illusion, a study of theme parks, in theme parks. Well, we're not in theme parks, but you get what I'm saying. So, real quick, before we start, everyone's got a piece of paper. Without going forward, I want you to just, by yourself, think about it for like 30 seconds. When I say theme park, what do you think? I just want you to just write that down real quick while I find my notes. No cheating, right? Eyes on your own paper. Fail.
God damn it, Kiana, you really need to find like a new laptop or something.
Alright, I think there's probably enough time for everyone to have written something down. Just going around the room real quick. Sure. What do you guys think? What do you think when I say theme parks? Just raise your hand or something. We'll go around.
Expensive food.
Different.
What?
You skipped me.
Well, Disney.
Okay.
Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots, expensive food, Disney,
Stereotypical roller coaster loop.
roller coaster loops.
Long lines.
Those roller coaster tycoon things where they always just like crash into all the people.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Screaming little kids.
All right. So, in short, not exactly the answers I was expecting, but a few of the keynotes. When people think theme parks, there's a couple things that really come to mind, which is a price, which is usually a very steep price, the rides, and just the atmosphere almost, even though it's not exactly the atmosphere I was kind of expecting to hear. But so let me ask you this. If one of the first things that comes to everybody's mind is the price, why is it that so many people, so many years, keep coming back in droves? And the answer is because theme parks fill a niche of entertainment that is not really provided anywhere else, and that is they create experiences. So just before getting any further to this, I'm just going to go over history real quick, because that was a request for the presentation. So real quick, what a theme park, how it started, is there are three major influences in the modern theme park. First is in the late 1860s, precursor rides. So there were like steam-powered carousels back then. And that really got the public's mind kind of flowing on it. Next, in the 1600s, were things called pleasure gardens, which were basically big, nice outdoor gardens with things, not what you'd think, but just like tightrope walkers, jugglers, animals, that kind of thing. Just an outdoor walk through the park with your very oddly dressed companions, and just being outside and enjoying something that you can't find anywhere else. And finally is the World Fairs, which I believe started in the late 1800s, where people would come together, show off their new technologies, just kind of try to get a taste of things all in one place for amusement. The three of these come together to make theme parks. You'll see I put first amusement park here. There's a bit of a difference between amusement parks and theme parks. I'll cover that in a second. But the first amusement park was Coney Island in the late 1800s. And the first theme park, which a lot of people like to think is Disneyland, but the truth is it was Santa Claus Land in Santa Claus, Indiana, opening in 1946. Just your fun fact of the day. But the one that popularized theme parks, and therefore is the ancestor, if you will, is Disneyland, California, not Santa Claus Land, much to my chagrin, because that would be a very different America these days. So real quick, I've already thrown some terminology around that I should explain. So I'm gonna talk about some of that terminology. Go back, please.
I think you can.
I got a trigger finger.
It's got a side arrow. I think you can go back with.
Oh, it does have a side arrow. doesn't go
Maybe.
back. Oh, yes, it does. Now it does.
Lag.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, we'll go with lag. Okay, so let's talk definitions. What is an experience? An experience is kind of a little bit of everything of what you guys said. It's the atmosphere, it's the memories that come out of it, it's the immersion, it's the branding, the merchandise. All of this comes together with the rides to create the experience, which will be a keynote that we kind of keep touching on throughout the course of it. But if you take away any one thing from this, it's let's figure out what exactly I mean by experience together. So, theme versus amusement parks. It's not really a strict difference, but in the colloquial phrases, a theme park versus amusement park, there's a subtle difference. In that amusement park is what would typically come to mind with roller coasters and high-octane rides. Those are designed more around the thrill of things, whereas a theme park, as the name would imply, are heavily themed. Like if you think about Six Flags, for example, there's not really too much of a theme going on. They got some cool rides are great, but that's pretty much it. And then you think like Universal Studios or Disney, and there's like whole themed areas, cast members wear like area-appropriate clothing, etc., etc. So that's the real difference between theme and amusement parks, is the presence of theme and theming. Theming we're going to talk about on the next slide, and that's just really all the steps that come together to create the theme and immersion. Finally, just attraction is an important keyword because throughout the course of things, I'll be referring to rides as attractions out of habit, because attractions include more than just rides, but also the shows, the interactive experiences, etc., and menus, plenty of menus. So let's talk about theming real quick. There's a couple important facets of theming. First things first, we'll do an example of Six Flags versus Universal's Islands of Adventure, which will really kind of just drive what theming is home in 2 easy pictures. We'll do that in the concept of a quick little game that I call A or B. Next, theming, a lot of it really comes down to an immersive environment, making you really feel like you're in an area, or just a bunch of little subtleties that come together to build the concept of, I'm in this movie, or wow, look at this, it's almost as if I'm with the characters. Finally, the most important part of theming is to never break the illusion that you're not where the theme says you are. Even though everyone goes in and they know, okay, I'm not really on a tropical island, the idea is you want it to be immersive enough where if you don't think about it, you could say, yeah, I could see how this is a tropical island. And you don't want to do anything like show, I don't know, a steampunk blimp in a tropical island, because that would immediately break the illusion. And that's a big part of what keeps people coming back to like Disney and Universal, is that when kids are there and don't have the critical thinking to think, oh, this doesn't make any sense, I'm on an island, that illusion is everything. That's what keeps people coming back. All right, so let's get into A or B. So I'm going to show you 2 pictures, and we're going to do this like an eye doctor, better or worse. These are 2 very similar rides. I'm going to show you the lines for a Six Flags roller coaster and the Islands of Adventure roller coaster. One's DC, one's Marvel, but that's irrelevant. And just from the 2 pictures, without knowing which one's which, you're going to tell me which is better themed. Okay? So again, this is a precursor. I just want to hear from you. So first, A or B? Oh. Yeah, A or B? Better or worse? What do you guys think?
B.
That's correct. B is obviously the much better themed. Just looking through it, so this is a Superman roller coaster in Six Flags. As you can see, it is literally just chain link fences underneath the roller coaster. While you're waiting in line, that television will play Looney Tunes, advertisements, and I don't even know. Just like, it'll say like, check out Pepsi in the park. Yeah. And it's like, okay. Next, we're gonna, this is the Incredible Hulk in Islands of Adventure. As you can see, the entire queue, instead of just being chain link fences, goes through a replica of Dr. Banner's labs. And on these television screens, instead of advertising Coca-Cola as it may be, instead it shows video logs of Bruce Banner going through his experiments and slowly building a story of the ride. You'll see that's also a bit of a recurring concept in a lot of these better attractions, is there is a story to the ride, something to get you lost, just another facet of immersion. In this case, he's saying, I think we can redo the experiment properly this time. And that builds and builds throughout the line until the ride happens, which is kind of the climax of said story. Theming, immersive environments. So a really good example of this is, I'm sure everyone's familiar now with the Harry Potter world in Islands of Adventure. This is one of the pinnacles right now in theme park studies of immersive environments, because they built everything, replicas from the book, everything is to scale, and everything that isn't is made to look like it is. So this is just pictures from the Hogsmeade area, where as you can see, there's the whole town painstakingly recreated for movies, books, and just descriptions. And the castle there, Hogwarts, isn't actually as big as it looks, but you want to create the illusion again. So it's all based off perspective and scaled modeling just to make it look like it's way bigger than it is, to create that illusion that you're really at the base of this giant castle on top of a giant mountain. Because, you're a 9-year-old, what do you want to see? Wow, that's really Hogwarts. It's not big enough for me to just kick over. Because in real life, it's obviously not that small, but comparably. And now, speaking of not breaking the illusion, we're going to play another little game. This is a picture of the Morocco Pavilion in the Epcot World Showcase. For anyone who's not familiar, in Walt Disney World, Epcot, they have the World Pavilion, where a bunch of countries have like a little area based off them. This is Morocco's, and there's something in this picture that should absolutely break the illusion of being in Morocco. And I can give you all a couple seconds to see if you can figure out what it is. Any guesses? Yeah.
The buoys in the water.
No, well, that's a good answer, but
The thing in the background?
which one in the background?
The castle thing?
This right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good guess. So what that actually is that is the Hollywood Tower Hotel, or the Tower of Terror, from across the parks. So it is actually designed to, at a glance, look like part of the Moroccan skyline. And what's really cool about this is they built this ride that is in one park and seen from the other, so that it doesn't break the illusion in either. From anywhere in Hollywood studios, from any angle you can possibly muster to look at it, it looks like the old 1950s hotel. But from anywhere in Epcot, the backside is painted to look like Morocco, basically, so that it fits into the skyline. So anywhere you can see it from this park, it blends into this park's theming. Anywhere you can see it from the other, it blends into that park's theming. Just a simple, what I think is a very cool example of what little things you can do so that the illusion is never broken. What's actually a little fun fact about this, like I said, I'm a theme park aficionado. I've been going like basically every year since I was 3 or 4 to Disney or Universal. This is something I only just found out about like a year or 2 ago. I've been here countless times, and it took a cast member actually saying, oh, by the way, that's the Hollywood Tower Hotel, for me to go, oh, crap. All right, so speaking of immersive illusions, how do you actually build them? And there's a couple things that go into this. First is there's a lot of little subtleties: sense, sounds, positioning. You have smaller details like employees just do what they can to, again, most of it is aimed at kids, but also just lose yourself in it. Employees fitting the area. Another thing is cues, as I mentioned, like going back to that Incredible Hulk example, the importance of cues. I keep menuing, I'm so sorry. The cues of a ride will do a lot to help build the theme and the story for that particular ride, and through those attractions, also the theme of that area, and through it the park, and through it your story within the vacation, if you will. Park layout goes a lot for creating set illusions, and finally, a key concept in Disney Imagineering, at least, is making the guests feel like they're characters in a story. This is a little more subtle than the others, but starting from the top, let's talk about some of the subtleties. Maybe 10 years ago or so. Actually, I'm going to start with a question. I know a good number of people have probably been to Walt Disney World. How many people are familiar with the Pirates of the Caribbean scent? There's the old Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It has like a very particular scent to the point where it's so popularized, people buy it as cologne. Like, so not many people, that's fine. But it drives home a really good point that smell matters a lot. This is something Universal's just recently started picking up on, and one of the big reasons that Disney is the top dog in theming, which is recently a patent of theirs was released to the public. I'm not sure how exactly, but people became aware of it, called Smellitzers, wherein all around the park there are little dispersals that will just spray scents. Something that should absolutely not be noticeable, but goes a long way to make people feel like they're in a certain environment. Pirates of the Caribbean, it's dank underground caves. You walk in and you smell that old wood and water. If you're in the Kingdom crossing a bridge from, say, Frontierland to Adventureland, if you pay really close attention, it'll smell like dusty Wild West. You'll take one more step, and suddenly it has that tropical humidity of a jungle. Like, if you really watch out for it, you'll say, wow, I didn't even realize they were doing that. It's kind of like just a subtle thing to get you thinking along it. Same with sounds. Listening to background tracks, they'll always play the right sounds in the right places to make you think you are where you're not. Like different animal calls for areas that you shouldn't be in, people talking in the background, humming, hawing, footsteps, etc., etc. And positioning. So going back to like that Morocco example, positioning of things within the parks is a really subtle thing engineers can do to create illusions. Or tree lines. If you ever are in a park again, watch the tree lines, because anything that does not fit in the illusion, if they can't find a way to make it fit, will be blocked out by convenient trees. The employees, as I mentioned, they really get into it. So they'll wear, their uniforms will actually be themed particularly to fit whatever area they're working in. Pirates of the Caribbean employees will be wearing old swashbuckling clothes and required to talk with pirate accents. People working in the Marvel Island, for example, at Universal, will be wearing, or like the Doom ride, they wear basically Latverian clothes and say, "We work for Dr. Doom," with vaguely European accents. Or actually a great example, Disney's World Showcase. Like I said, they have deals with different countries, they have representations of them. All the employees in each pavilion are actually natives of that country. So that one's not even an illusion. That's straight up like bringing people in for full immersion. Oh, is that maybe me? I don't think that's me. All right, gang, let's split up and search for clues. All right, we're gonna ignore the beating for now. Sorry. No worries. I wanted to make sure it wasn't me. So as I was saying, the importance of cues. There's a large aspect of storytelling that goes into this kind of experience, and the cues actually do a good job of it. As someone mentioned, I forget who exactly, I'm sorry, one of the things you think of when you think theme parks is long lines, right? So the thing is, a lot of the theme park owners don't want you to be waiting in line, or at least feel like you're waiting for a long time. Because if someone spends all their time just waiting in lines, they get displeased. Kids get antsy, kids get bored, no one wants to come back anymore. So there's two solutions. One is more on the operation side, which is things like the Fast Pass system, which is to get people out of the lines, still not on the rides, but still feel like they're free to roam around the parks. Or make the queues more interactive, make them more important, make the long lines something usable, something that makes kids actually want to wait. The best example right now is going back to the new Harry Potter ride, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Has anyone been on that yet? Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who haven't, the entire queue experience is you're actually walking through a replica of Hogwarts. They use all kinds of new technologies. They have the paintings talk to you. They have like thin screens that they project the actual actors talking on during. You can see through windows and stuff, just background stuff that you have to go out of your way to find. But just the fact that there's so much going on, so much happening, and that it's all happening right around you, it makes you feel like you're there. Or back to the Incredible Hulk ride. The queue is used to build up the story, where he's saying, we can rebuild this experiment, we can redo it, and then that's the ride, as it happens. Because realistically, you're going to be in line for 30, 45 minutes, and on the ride for under a minute and a half. So which is really the more important part? And a lot of the designers would argue the queue. So what they do is they make it interactive. Haunted Mansion, they put games in the queue. You can go hit tombstones, and they sing songs. Bunch of little stuff like that. Park layout, like I was talking before, Morocco's another great example of that. Park layout is actually, I put it on here to talk about how it's not all about just illusions, but also just good operations. So for example, again, going back to Harry Potter World, that's kind of the hot big thing right now. It's the point where the park is overflowing with people who just want to see Harry Potter World. And that is bad for the park, because everyone's clustering up and congesting this one area, and the rest isn't getting utilized. So how can we put the theme to use, what we already have laid out to use, and how can we solve this issue in one fell swoop? First things first, people love new stuff. We know that. People love new movies coming out, and new movie tie-ins are one of the best things. One of the best ways to create an experience is for movies and try to play off people's nostalgia, try to play off people's feelings for particular topics. So in this case, what Universal is doing to absolve the Harry Potter problem is they're actually opening a whole new region of the park right next to Jurassic Park. They're taking the existing infrastructure of that tropical island jungle type thing, turning it into a King Kong themed area. So new rides, new theme that is built off previously existing themes, so you can kind of twist it to what you need on the exact opposite end of the park from Harry Potter. So by laying it out in particular ways, they're able to create things with their movie plans that are scheduled way in advance that can then control the flow. Some people are still going to rush to Harry Potter, but a lot of other people are going to go to the other side of the park. And the completionists who are going to want to do both are going to want to rush to one or the other because one's new, and then trickle their way around. And as they trickle from one end to the other, that's time that the theme parks are making money, making food sales, offset overpriced Dippin' Dots and food, selling merchandise, and then building the brand. Last things last, this is a really hard one to describe, I guess, but making guess the characters. You see this happen a lot, mostly with like little kids who dress like princesses. Like there's a famous story of Disney security guard, who anytime he sees a little kid dressed like a character or a princess, will run over and ask them to get their autograph in his own little autograph book. So it's like little things that make people feel like they're involved. Or rides wherein the premise behind it is that you, the guests, have to do this, or you, the guests, are doing this mundane activity when this goes wrong. For example, I know I keep referencing the Incredible Hulk, that's because it's on my mind right now. But the idea is you are investigating Banner and following his footsteps. Or Indiana Jones, you are a tour group that they commandeer to go find their missing archaeologists, and so forth. The idea is if you can make the guests feel like they're more involved, they're more likely to come back. Worked on me. So real quick, I was talking about the Harry Potter thing earlier.